guys, meet again with Queen MMA. UFC 267 with the main card Jan Blachowicz vs Glover Teixeira, which took place on October 30th, 2021, at the Etihad Arena, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, was exciting. Glover Teixeira, who was then 42 years old, had made it to the top of the sporting with a dominant win over champion Jan Blachowicz. The event also featured a battle between Petr vs Sand-hagen, Makhachev vs Dan Hooker, and last but not least Khamzat Chima-eaiev vs liang. But, how are the results achieved by them? Here's a recap of UFC 267. But, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss other interesting info. 1. Glover Teixeira vs Jan Blachowicz. Appearing as a title contender, Glover Teixeira takes on light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz at UFC 267 main event on Sunday in Abu Dhabi. At the age of 42, Glover Teixeira is actually not a favorite to win against Jan Blachowicz. But what happened while in the Octagon? Glover Teixeira managed to prove that the age didn't hinder his ability to become a champion. Glover Teixeira managed to overwhelm Jan Blachowicz. The climax of the fight occurred in the second round, where Glover Teixeira managed to stop Jan Blachowicz through a rear naked choke and became the new champion in the UFC light heavyweight class. In addition to being the light heavyweight champion in the UFC, he has also won the title as the oldest champion in the UFC. As the oldest UFC champion in history, Glover Teixeira is second behind Randy Couture, who holds the status of UFC heavyweight champion at the age of 45. I have no words to describe this. I used to think a lot of things to say to you, I've had them and now I don't have them. I've broken the rules, I'm 42 years old and I will continue to break those rules. Glover Teixeira said in an interview after the fight to Daniel Cormier. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Jan Blachowicz admitted his defeat and did not want to say any reason. Despite losing and having to lose the championship belt, Jan Blachowicz promised to come back and appear stronger than before. 2. Petr vs Sand-hagen. Meanwhile, in the bantamweight battle, there was Petr against Sand-hagen, where Petr emerged victorious with an unanimous decision after a fierce 5-round battle. Previously, as a good fighter, Petr had to be willing to lose his title against Aljamain Sterling due to disqualification. Since losing the title, at that time, Petr is optimistic to get a rematch against a fighter from the United States, Aljamain Sterling, at UFC 267. But in fact, Aljamain Sterling is still not recovering from injury, so the fight must be replaced with against Sand-hagen. This fight itself becomes a match in the fight for the interim bantamweight title. In the fight, Petr performed brilliantly by dominating the 5 running rounds, although Sand-hagen also provided a formidable resistance, and the score obtained by Sand-hagen was closely related to Petr's score. When the match ended, where the decision was announced, Petr won an absolute victory over Sand-hagen with the same 3 score, that is 49-46. This match resulted in the interim bantamweight champion and Aljamain Sterling's next main challenger, Petr. Petr stated that this result didn't affect him at all. It was because he didn't care about the unification fight, because he felt he was still in power in the bantamweight. This statement refers to Aljamain Sterling, who previously often refused a rematch after he won the title. Petr himself against Sand-hagen didn't find it difficult. According to him, Sand-hagen's punch didn't hurt him at all, although he did have bruises on several parts of his head. In his interview, Petr said, "He didn't hurt me, but I had bruises in several places on my head. He's a good guy. A good fighter, as you noticed before the duel. We don't have a war of words. Show mutual respect. I respect him as a human being and a fighter," said Petr. 3. Makhachev vs Dan Hooker. When the fight between Makhachev vs Dan Hooker has not yet taken place, Dan Hooker requested the match be held in 5 rounds. However, the UFC didn't grant Dan Hooker's wish to compete with a 5-round rule against Makhachev. Although the match was held in 3 rounds, in fact Makhachev was able to finish off Dan Hooker quickly and easily. Since the beginning of the round bell rang, the Russian fighter managed to take down and then force Dan Hooker to compete on the ground. The Russian fighter brought down Dan Hooker after throwing a right hook and doing a double leg takedown. Makhachev needed just 145 seconds in the first round to beat Dan Hooker with Kimura's lock. As everyone knows, Makhachev is an expert in wrestling, just like his brother who is UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov. After winning the match, Makhachev wrote a sarcastic tweet to Dan Hooker. In his tweet Makhachev said, "I don't need 5 rounds," wrote Makhachev in his tweet. Now Makhachev has managed to collect 9 consecutive wins in the UFC lightweight class at the age of 30, and Makhachev managed to make a record of 21-1. With his current record, will Makhachev be able to get a title match at the UFC in the future? Share your opinion in the comments column. 4. Khamzat Chima-eaiev vs Jing. After successfully recovering from COVID-19, Khamzat Chima-eaiev has been doing regular training and now he has got his fight at UFC 267, against Liang. The Khamzat Chima-eaiev vs Liang fight is one of the most awaited fights by UFC fans around the world. The reason is, Khamzat Chima-eaiev is a new sensation in the UFC that kicked off last year. Khamzat Chima-eaiev was able to finish off 3 opponents with a knockout win in just 66 days. Khamzat Chima-eaiev has gone 9 knockout wins unbeaten throughout his professional MMA career, which started in mid-2018. And all of them he finished before the second round ended. Had announced that he had quit the world of MMA due to being infected with COVID-19 at the end of last year, but in the end, it was only now that Khamzat Chima-eaiev was able to appear again and win. That's what makes Khamzat Chima-eaiev so excited in this fight. After successfully doing a takedown by lifting Liang and slamming him onto the canvas, Khamzat Chima-eaiev then put on a rear naked choke with his left hand, but Liang was still able to break free. Khamzat Chima-eaiev then immediately followed the rear naked choke with his right hand. The Leech still wouldn't give up until his face turned purple, because Khamzat Chima-eaiev strangled him to sleep. The referee finally stopped the fight in the first round when the fight lasted 3 minutes 16 seconds. "I will kill everyone here. This is my house," said Khamzat Chima-eaiev when interviewed by Daniel Cormier after the fight. When asked who he would like to face next, Khamzat Chima-eaiev said, "Everyone. Give me everything," he said. So that's guys, recap UFC 267. Don't forget to share your opinion in the comments column and like and share the video. See ya.